Hey guys, MD Prepper here. Another knife slash machete slash sword review. This time on the Cold Steel line of Sax, S-A-X machetes. These things are a bit of a niche type blade. I bought them about a year ago from Cold Steel's Lynn Thompson Special Projects website. They were on special at the time on closeout. And at the time I couldn't figure out why in the heck these things were so cheap and on discount. Looked on YouTube, could barely find any videos on them. Couldn't figure out why. I probably should have done a video about these earlier, but with the latest reviews of my Cobra Steel style utility short swords and all that, I figured this would be a decent add-on that I should have done a long time ago. The Sax Machete is, again, part of the Cold Steel Machete lines. This I would not call a machete at all. I would call this a machete style sword. This is of course the 12-inch model, the shorter model, which I happen to like a lot better for handy utilityness. This one is a This is an 18-inch version. Less handy, I think, better for chopping and bigger projects, but I like this one better. When I bought these, again, I bought these on the closeout line. Could not find hardly anything as far as reviews on these blades, and I could not figure out why. And I think the biggest thing is that Cold Steel classifies them as machetes. I don't think these are machetes. They're in the machete line, but these are more of a short sword style design and use. So I guess that might be why people don't like them, or maybe people don't know about them. Maybe they just weren't a big seller. Long story short, these are a kind of a modern reintroduction or reinterpretation of an old classic style blade, the Steel Sax, which is a Western European, Northern European style blade, Dark Ages, early Middle Ages style blade, primarily in what we call today France, Charlemagne, the Franks, that sort of thing, use these type blades. Very interesting, a straight blade. They're clipped down here on this end to give you your point. Very unique, very interesting. Never seen another blade like this. I was a little bit questionable about the quality of this or the usefulness of this when I ordered them, but for the price I just couldn't say no. Let me say, when I bought this, this thing was, this being the 12-inch model, was I believe $9.99. The 18-inch was $12 to $14.99. Can't remember now. I just checked before I started making this video tonight on December 1st, and basically both of these are now $9.99 each, which is a steal for both of these. Either one is an amazing pickup for $10 a piece. They also, of course, come with a sheath, which we'll go over in a minute. Let me get the 18-incher out of the way here in a minute. This is the 12-inch blade model. Obviously a 12-inch blade. It is 3 millimeters thick. Don't know how much you can see there, but this is an amazingly thick blade. You can easily baton other type woodcraft skills with this. It is 1055 carbon steel. Has a polypropylene grip. Now let me say, this polypropylene grip is infinitely better than the rest of the Cold Steel knife line, and machete line rather. Most of your Cold Steel machete line has a smooth, slightly checkered polypropylene grip that just doesn't have a whole lot to offer. Let me pull up one of my Panga machetes here. Here's one of my Cold Steel Panga machetes. Like it a lot. It's a good machete. It is nowhere near the quality of this Sax machete. The finish on this thing, it's a good for a machete, but it's not so great for a sword. This is one I have not actually taken the sticker off of. The grips and handle on this, they're hard, very hard. Again, decent for a machete. This one cost me $8-9. This one cost me $10. This is an infinitely better blade than this one. Now, this one isn't exactly a machete, but as far as blade quality, the Sax is better. This is fine. I like my Cold Steel machetes. I'm not bad-mouthing it. But for the low cost of $10, this is a better purchase. Is it as useful as a machete? No. That does not have that big swept front and all that you're used to from a machete. It's a lot thicker than your standard machete. comes fairly sharp, but sharpens up incredibly easily. You may see some wear marks here if I hold it up close from where I use my little hand sharpener on this blade, which sharpened this thing up to a razor's edge. Unlike your standard machete, which is probably why this is not as popular as machete, this has a nice sharp tip. This would be a fine little thrusting blade if you had to use it. Again, more of a chopper, obviously, by its design. Now, these polypropylene grips, unlike your standard cold steel grip line of grips, this thing is rubberized. It's a little softer, a little easier to use, and it's got a nice checkering on it. We're going to try to show you that there. This thing has an infinitely better grip than your standard cold steel line. Of course, it's full tang. You've got your lanyard hole here on the back and your little extension quasi-quillion back here for when you chop to keep it in your hand. Love this. Previous to the Cobra Steel blade that I just reviewed, this was one of my favorite self-defense style utility knife, short sword type wilderness tools. Don't know why I didn't do a review of it sooner. I just didn't get around to it. Didn't think about it. I love this blade, especially for $10. This thing's unbeatable. It's a lot thicker than your standard machete, has that non-rust little black finish on it. The grips are infinitely better, and the blade holds an edge a lot better. You can use this for batoning and all that. Again, I would not call this a machete. I would call this a super large knife or short sword slash utility sword. Would have no problems carrying this out in the bush and using it a lot. It's not going to be good for fine work, but for the big stuff, it's going to do the job. Is it perfect as a machete because of the shape and all? No. I think that's probably where this thing fell apart as far as popularity. Here's your sheath, kind of your standard cold steel style sheath, your rivets. You got your plastic ends here, which I think is to keep the blade from punching into the sides, or possibly just to add some rigidity to the lower end. You insert it, standard type sheath. You've got your single attachment here, and you've got your grip little clasps here, which I don't think is particularly useful for this blade. I tend to keep this clasped here in the behind. Just draw it like a normal short sword and go to town. This would be a great defensive multi-purpose item. Again, that is the 12-inch model. This is the 18-inch model. I only have one of these, though when I went on tonight and checked prices, they're both $9.99, the 18-inch and the 12-inch, so I may order a couple more of these along with the several 12-inchers I've got. I got a few that I've kept in the plastic just for gifts, that sort of thing, because I like the knife that much, or the knife, I'd call it a sword, machete. The 18-inch is not near as usable, I suppose. I just like the short length of the 12-inch, the weighting of it. This is obviously heavierly weighted on the front side here for better chopping and all that. As far as a hardcore machete, this one, the 18-inch, is going to do a lot better. But for defensive work, I would go for the 12 for enclosed short sword style combat, that sort of thing. If you had to use it for defensive purposes in the SHTF, I'd probably prefer the 12. The 12 will get the job done for chopping. This chop will be better, but it's just a little too ungainly. It's fine. I don't mind it. And for $10, I think it's a steal. And like I say, just now finding out tonight that the prices on both have leveled off to the same price. I'm probably going to order another one of these two of these just to keep them around. Otherwise, identical to the original, just longer blade. Blade is the exact same style. Comes reasonably sharp, but again, I sharpened it up to a razor's edge. You can see some wear marks here when I use my little quick cheap sharpener on a cheap blade. Stats on this one, again, this was also 3 millimeters thick. It's 1055 carbon, polypropylene grips, again, just the same style as the 12-inch. It is 23 5/8 overall and 22.6 ounces. So a little heavy for a machete, but not bad. You can bring some pain when you come down with this. Again, the sheath is exactly the same style and quality as the 12-inch, just a little longer. Again, just like the other one, I don't think you necessarily need this upper grip style clasp. You can if you want to. You got your classic style covers there on the bottom. standard belt attachment, nothing special there. Your standard utilitarian cold steel sheath. Nothing special about it. Again, if you want to talk about good sheaths for Cordura, look at my marbles knife reviews. Here it is. This is the 18-inch. And again, here is the 12. I think the 12 is a lot more handy, a lot more useful. It's larger than a knife, but more of a short sword than it is a long sword. I like this one a lot better. I think this is the best one for your money for 10 bucks. Again, either one for 10 bucks, you can't beat it. But general purpose, this one, I just like the way this thing feels in my hand. I like the way it carries. It's nice and quick for slashes, that type of thing. You can stab with it in an enclosed situation. Again, it's survival knife slash machete, though it's not quite a machete. It's really more of a short sword. Again, MD Prepper on the Sax Machete, which is of course short for Scram Sax. Look those up. Great blades. MD Prepper out.